Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me this morning. Appreciate you being here. If you will, like, share, comment on the post. And then, not necessarily need to look there today, but we're just going to introduce the little letter of Philemon. We'll go through it here in the next week or so. And it's a great little letter. Shortest one that Paul wrote. Tells Christians about relationships and reconciliation, repairing relationships, and again, in particular, between Christians. And so Paul wrote this letter. It is one of his prison epistles, along with Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians. These are four that he wrote while imprisoned in Rome, 61 AD, and actually he was under house arrest, more so than what you might think of as in prison. And the letter is written, it is addressed to Aphia and Archippus, and the church itself that met there in Philemon's house, and so he is mainly writing to him. They met in Colossae, where the letter to the Colossians obviously was written, and Onesimus is mentioned back in Colossians in the 4th chapter there. And so he was apparently a wealthy man, that enough that he owned slaves and had a large house to be able to host church meetings there in his house. And it seems that Philemon was actually a believer who had been converted during Paul's ministry. And so Paul is writing a very personal letter to him. He is, again, he's writing, making a very personal appeal to Philemon. It was, again, not a private personal appeal. The letter would have been read in front of the whole church, and with specifically Philemon in mind. And again, it is a very personal, intimate letter that Paul writes to a friend. Not just an acquaintance, but it appears to be a friend, and that Paul was writing to, and again appealed to him on a love friend basis. Philemon had a slave named Onesimus, and obviously from the letter, Onesimus had become a believer, but he had stolen from Philemon and ran away and ran to Rome. And from some set of circumstances, he met Paul, and then Paul had led Onesimus to Christ, and discipled him and watched him grow as a believer. And Onesimus had then responded by helping to minister to Paul. And so Paul, again, we don't know the exact timing, but in some way Paul learns of the circumstances of why Onesimus is in Rome, why what he had done, and again of his stealing from Philemon. And so Paul sends him back, says you need to go back to Philemon and make this relationship right. And so that's what this letter is about. Paul is asking Philemon to receive and forgive Onesimus uh, for for his crime, for his actions, and Philemon could then restore and forgive Onesimus and be an example to the church, the rest of the church, and be an example to others of the forgiveness that he himself had received from God. And so, several things about this letter. One of them is it shows that Paul is not always long-winded. Paul writes some long letters and preaches some long sermons, but this one is a very short little letter. It also shows a side of Paul that is easy to overlook or to forget. Paul often, I think, comes across as a very rugged, very forceful individual. Here we see Paul's his soft side, and as he appeals to Philemon. And for you and I, this is a letter reminding us of the importance of again, reconciliation, of forgiveness, of restoration, and that again, forgiveness is a prerequisite to restoration. And so it's a good letter because we know that I was going to say in our day, but obviously not just in our day. It's always been possible. It's been not just possible, but honestly quite likely that when you get a group of people together, and probably the larger the group, the greater the odds that there's going to be some division, that there's going to be some hard feelings and some disagreements. And this passage reminds us, as Paul is saying to Philemon, Onesimus is useful as a believer. We can't just throw him to the curb, and that we remember the importance of forgiveness. That all of us we practice reconciliation, we practice forgiveness, we work on restoring relationships, and that we might be useful to the kingdom, and we might be an example to others, and in particular to a lost world, of the forgiveness of God. So that's just a little overview of what this letter is about. So I hope you'll join me this week and in the part of next week as we look at, again, this little letter, and perhaps it will stir in you maybe some memory, recall a relationship in your own life that needs restoration, that needs repair, and maybe you need to grant or to seek forgiveness. And so that's where we'll be in this coming week. All right, you have a great day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.